Imagine sitting across from your husband of 6 years when your wrist suddenly tells you a complete stranger is more compatible with you than he has ever been. Your husband scored 74%. The stranger scored 98%. Would you ignore the number and go home, or spend the rest of your life wondering whether you just walked away from the person you were actually meant to love? That's exactly what happened to a woman named Yuna in Seoul in the year 2090. So here's how the tech works. Almost everyone in the city wears a small skin patch called a soul sync. It reads your heartbeat, your voice patterns, even tiny neural signals you don't notice yourself giving off. And when you're near someone else wearing one, it calculates a live compatibility score. 90% and up, people call it a true match, the kind of number that's supposed to mean lifelong happiness, if you're brave enough to follow it. Yuna's been married to Jin for 6 years. Comfortable, stable, a little quiet. The kind of relationship SoulSync had clocked at a modest 74% on their wedding day. High enough to marry, not high enough to brag about.
74's plenty,
Jin used to tell her, laughing.
Nobody needs 100 to be happy.
Yuna used to believe that too. Then, one evening on the train, her patch buzzes in a way it never has before. Compatibility detected. 98%. She looks up, and there's a stranger sitting across from her, maybe her age, glancing at his own wrist with the same stunned expression.
Did yours just?
He starts.
Yeah,
She says.
98.
He introduces himself as Minho. They talk for the rest of the ride, and something about the conversation feels effortless in a way 6 years with Jin stopped feeling a long time ago.
I should get off here,
Yuna says when the train reaches her stop and doesn't move for a second.
You don't have to.
Minho says.
There's no rule that says you do anything about a number like this.
Isn't there, though? Everyone always says you're supposed to.
That night, Yuna lies awake next to Jin, who's already asleep, breathing the same way he's breathed next to her for 6 years. She keeps replaying the sound of her own patch buzzing on the train, a sound it had never once made for her, not in 6 years of marriage.
You know the odds of a genuine 98?
Minho asks her a few weeks later after they've kept running into each other. Always,
Coincidentally. About 1 in 40,000 pairings. Some people never see one their whole life.
I've never even heard of anyone getting this high.
Yuna says.
Doesn't that tell you something?
It does. It tells her something she doesn't want to admit out loud yet. She finally tells Jin she's leaving, standing in their kitchen, unable to look at him directly.
There's someone else.
She says.
98%, Jin. I've never felt anything like it.
Jin doesn't yell. He doesn't even look that surprised, which somehow makes it worse.
98.
He repeats quietly.
Okay.
That's all you have to say?
He's quiet for a long moment, like he's deciding something.
I had a 99 once.
He finally says. Yuna freezes.
4 years ago, a woman from my old firm. The patch had never read that high on me before. It never has since.
He looks at her, steady.
I didn't tell you because it didn't matter what the number said. I chose you every single day after that. Not because a machine told me to. Because I wanted to.
Yuna doesn't know what to do with an answer that honest. For years, she assumed a number like that would have been impossible to walk away from, and Jin had one, quietly, the whole time, and just never let it become anything. She leaves anyway, moves in with Minho within the month. Her mother calls, confused.
You left Jin over a number.
It's not just a number, Amma. It's proof.
Proof of what? You barely know this man.
Yuna doesn't have a good answer for that, so she just says she has to go. Every reading between her and Minho stays locked at 98, and for a while it feels like proof she made the right call. But a number only tells you how well two people might fit. It doesn't tell you what either of you actually does with that. A few months in, Minho stops asking about her day the way he used to on the train. He starts answering her in half sentences, eyes somewhere else.
You used to actually listen,
Yuna says one night.
I am listening.
You checked your wrist 3 times while I was talking.
It's just a habit.
It wasn't, before. Minho, it turns out, checks his own patch obsessively, comparing Yuna's number against strangers on the street out of habit, the same habit that brought them together in the first place.
You're doing it right now, aren't you?
Yuna asks him one night, watching his eyes flick to his wrist mid-conversation.
Force of habit.
He says.
You didn't used to do that with me.
I didn't have to. We were the highest number I'd ever seen.
And now?
He doesn't answer. He doesn't have to. 6. Months later, Yuna requests a reading between her and Jin just once out of curiosity. Or maybe something closer to grief. 71%. Slightly lower than their wedding day, the kind of dip that happens naturally to any two people who've stopped choosing each other every morning. She calls him, and he actually picks up.
I know it's low now,
She says.
I just wanted to see. Numbers change.
Jin says. That was never really the part that mattered to me.
Why didn't you ever tell me about her? About Sarah?
Because I didn't want you choosing me out of guilt or fear of losing me to someone else. I wanted you to choose me because you wanted to. That's the only version of it I ever cared about.
There's a long silence on the line.
I don't know if I still have that.
Yuna says quietly.
I know.
Jin says.
That's the part I can't fix for you.
Here's what stays with me about this one. A 98% match promised Yuna certainty, and all it actually delivered was a boyfriend who couldn't stop checking his wrist. A 74% marriage never promised her anything. And the only person in the entire story who chose someone on purpose, every single day, without needing a machine to tell him to, was the man she left standing in the kitchen. Yuna never goes back to Jin. Too much has already broken for that. But she does something else, something small. She stops wearing her soul sync patch altogether for the first time since she was a teenager because she's realized she doesn't actually want to know the number anymore. Not for Minho, not for anyone she meets after him. She wants to find out the slow way. The way Jin apparently already knew was the only way that ever really counted. So here's the question. If a number told you somebody better existed, would you go looking for them? Or is choosing to stay on purpose every single day worth more than any score a machine could ever give you? Genuinely, what would you do?